Joining us now is Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Sanjay, great to see you.
Thank you. Thanks
What's
for having
the
me.
connection between marijuana and opioid abuse?
I believe that it can treat the underlying pain that people usually take opioids for in the first place.
You think pot can?
I think pot can. I think it can treat the withdrawal. One of the reasons people can't quit opioids is because they have these withdrawal symptoms, which is very similar to the sort of chemotherapy symptoms people have with cancer patients. And we know it can treat that. It can treat these withdrawal symptoms the same way, the same mechanism. And the most interesting thing to me, Allison, the thing I sort of learned while making this documentary was that opioids change your brain. They change your brain. They do it quickly. That's what people mean when they say that it's a brain disease. And it changes a very specific part of the brain. If you continue to take opioids, that part of your brain doesn't heal. Research now shows CBD, which is a component of marijuana, cannabis, can heal that part of the brain.
Is that right?
Yeah, it can help treat the underlying brain disease that's fueling the addiction.
I didn't know it was reversible.
I didn't either. And this some of what I'm talking about is happening real time. This is research that is happening right now. If you had to design something, design a substance de novo that could help lead us out of this opioid epidemic, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Now, you didn't always feel this way about marijuana. You were skeptical, even about the medicinal uses of it. So describe your evolution.
I think several years ago, I wrote about this for various magazines, wrote a big article in Time magazine 9 years ago, basically saying, not impressed with the medicinal research on this. I think what I came to understand, Allison, I think it's a large message here, is that most of the funding for marijuana research in this country was funding for studies designed to look for harm. In fact, 96% of the studies that we looked at, their question was, how does marijuana cause harm? Only single-digit percentage of studies actually looked at benefits. So if you looked at it from the macro point of view, you would say, does it cause cancer? Does it cause addiction? Does it cause all these other problems? You wouldn't be particularly impressed. I started to look at non-federally funded labs, and I started to leave the country and look at other places, other countries that are doing this research for a long time, and a different picture started to emerge. And it became clear from some of these researchers I was talking to, not only could this be a medicine, there were times when it could be a medicine when nothing else had worked. Everything else had failed. This could come in and rescue.
So when you just heard Jeff Sessions there in our piece say, I think people need to take an aspirin and tough it out.
Look, I feel very strongly about this, Allison. We're in the middle of this opioid epidemic. It is the worst self-inflicted epidemic in our history. Tens of thousands of people dying. I mean, it has plateaued our life expectancy in the United States. All the great things we do in medicine and to try and push back the frontiers, those are all being totally obviated by this self-inflicted epidemic. Taking a couple of aspirin and toughing it out, it's a disconnect with what's happening out there. Not to mention that if you start taking opioids because you get a prescription, within a few days, your brain changes. Okay. The idea of telling people to just say no is egregious, according to the researchers I talked to. It's just not possible. And we understand that better than ever. So there has to be something done about this epidemic.
We have got to figure out what to do about it. I don't know a family that hasn't been touched. We have to find our way out of this epidemic.
I completely agree. Tens of thousands of lives.
Sanjay, thank you so much for sharing your research with us. Can't wait to see it. So tune in this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern for Sanjay's CNN special report, Weed for Pot versus Pills.